Commander Jake Morrison stood on the bridge of the USS Defiance, watching the alien ship slowly approach through the viewscreen. After 3 years of deep space exploration, humanity had finally found them, the first aliens they had ever met. Distance? Jake asked his navigation officer. 2,000 kilometers in closing, sir, Lieutenant Ryan Davis replied. They're moving very slowly. Jake nodded. The alien vessel looked nothing like human ships. It was smooth and curved, almost like a giant pearl floating in space. No sharp edges or weapons visible on the outside. It seemed peaceful enough, but Jake knew better than to assume anything. Captain Warren, are your people ready? Jake called to the diplomatic section. Captain Lisa Warren looked up from her preparation table. She had been studying alien contact procedures for the past 6 months. Every possible scenario had been planned for. Every conversation topic had been rehearsed. Every cultural mistake had been anticipated and avoided. We're ready, Commander. Lisa said, all diplomatic protocols are in place. Translation equipment is online. Cultural exchange materials are prepared. Emergency procedures are loaded into everyone's personal devices. Jake watched as Lisa's team made their final checks. They had brought enough supplies for 6 months of negotiations. Food, water, medical. Equipment, spare translation devices, backup communication systems, and secondary backup communication systems. The cargo bay held cultural gifts from every major human civilization. Art, music, literature, and scientific samples. The security team had been equally thorough. Colonel Mike Stevens had positioned armed guards at every critical section of the ship. Weapons were loaded but hidden. Armor was ready but not worn. Emergency lockdown procedures could be activated within 30 seconds. Every crew member knew exactly where to go if things went wrong. Sir, we're receiving a transmission, Communications Officer Beth Taylor announced. Put it through, Jake ordered. The main screen flickered and showed the interior of the alien ship. A tall, thin creature with blue-gray skin and large dark eyes looked back at them. It wore flowing robes that seemed to shimmer in the light. Greetings, the alien said in perfect English. I am Ambassador Kethvar of the Zelani Republic. We welcome you to our space. Jake felt a moment of surprise. They already spoke English? That seemed too convenient. Greetings, Ambassador, Jake replied carefully. I am Commander Jake Morrison of the United Earthship Defiance. We come in peace, seeking friendship and understanding. Kethvar's large eyes seemed to study the human bridge. Jake noticed the alien's gaze moving from person to person, taking in every detail. The ambassador's expression was hard to read, but something seemed to concern him. We appreciate your peaceful intentions, Kethvar said slowly. However, we must ask about your preparations? Preparations? Jake asked. Our sensors indicate. Your vessel carries enough weapons to destroy a small moon, Kethvar said. Your energy readings suggest military-grade defensive systems. Your ship appears to be built for war, not exploration. Jake felt confused. The Defiance was an exploration ship. Sure, it had weapons, but every human ship had weapons. Space was dangerous. Pirates, hostile environments, unknown threats. Any ship that went into deep space needed to be able to protect itself. Ambassador, we are an exploration vessel, Jake explained. Our weapons are purely defensive. We carry them for protection against unknown dangers. Kethvar's expression grew more concerned. Commander, your defensive weapons could destroy our entire fleet. Your shields could withstand our most powerful attacks. What dangers do you expect that require such extensive preparations? Colonel Stevens stepped forward. Sir, if I may, he said to Jake, then turned to the screen. Ambassador, we prepare for any possible threat. Pirates, hostile aliens, space storms, equipment failures, medical emergencies, or unknown dangers. We believe in being ready for anything. Anything? Kethvar repeated. Yes, sir, Stevens continued. We have contingency plans for 17 different first contact scenarios. Emergency medical protocols for unknown alien diseases. Combat procedures for various types of attacks. Evacuation plans if we need to abandon ship. Diplomatic protocols for peaceful contact, trade negotiations, cultural exchange, or territorial disputes. The more Stevens talked, the more worried Kethvar looked. The alien ambassador glanced at something off-screen, apparently communicating with others on his ship. Commander Morrison, Kethvar said carefully, in our culture, we prepare appropriate responses for expected situations. We bring what we need, nothing more. Your preparation suggests you expect ... conflict. Jake felt frustrated. They were trying to be peaceful, but the aliens seemed afraid of their normal precautions. Ambassador, we hope for peace, but we prepare for any possibility, Jake said. This is our first contact with an alien species. We don't know what to expect. Isn't it better to be prepared? Prepared, yes, Kethvar replied. But your level of preparation suggests you plan for total war. Do you truly need enough firepower to level a planet for a peaceful meeting? The question hung in the air. Jake looked around his bridge. Everything seemed normal to him. Standard equipment, standard procedures, standard precautions. But through alien eyes, they apparently looked like a military invasion force. Captain Warren stepped forward. Ambassador, perhaps we could meet in person to discuss this misunderstanding. We've prepared a cultural exchange program. We have gifts from Earth, examples of human art and science, and proposals for trade and cooperation. Cultural exchange? Kethvar asked. Yes, Warren continued. We've brought representatives from every major human nation. Experts in science, art, literature, music, and philosophy. We have translation equipment for dozens of human languages. We've prepared presentations about human history, technology, and culture. We've even brought samples of human food and entertainment. Kethvar was quiet for a long moment. Jake could see the alien was thinking hard about something. How many people did you bring for this cultural exchange? Kethvar asked. 200 specialists, Warren replied proudly. We wanted to make sure we could answer any questions about humanity. 200, Kethvar repeated slowly. For our first meeting, is that ... too few? Warren asked, suddenly uncertain. Kethvar's expression became even more troubled. Commander Morrison, our standard first contact procedure involves 3 diplomats and a small escort. You have brought what appears to be a military expedition with enough personnel to occupy a small planet. Jake realized they had a serious communication problem. What humans considered normal preparation, the aliens saw as threatening overkill. Ambassador, Jake said carefully, perhaps we should start with a smaller meeting. Just a few representatives. From each side, yes, Kethvar agreed quickly. That would be ... more appropriate. As the transmission ended, Jake turned to his crew. They all looked confused. Everything they had done was standard procedure, but somehow they had terrified. Their first alien contact. This was going to be more complicated than anyone had expected. Dr. Amy Rodriguez sat across from the alien linguist in the meeting room aboard the Zilani ship. The room was beautiful, with soft curved walls and gentle lighting that seemed to come from everywhere at once. Everything felt peaceful and calm. Vextal, the Zilani language expert, had skin that changed color slightly when he was thinking. Right now, it was a worried shade of purple-gray. He had spent the last 3 hours trying to understand human languages, and Amy could tell he was getting more confused, not less. Dr. Rodriguez, Vextal said in his careful English, I am having trouble with some of your concepts. May we discuss the word proportional? Amy nodded. Of course. What would you like to know? In Zelani, we have many words for measured. Response. If someone insults us, we have a word for the proper level of insult to return. If someone attacks us, we have words for the exact amount of force needed to stop them, but not harm them further. Vextal's skin shifted to a deeper purple. When I ask your translation computer for the human word for proportional response, it gives me many different answers. None of them seem to mean the same thing. Amy thought about this. Well, we do have the phrase proportional response. It means using the right amount of force for the situation. But what is the right amount? Vextal asked. Enough to solve the problem, Amy replied. Vextal's skin turned almost black. That is what confuses me. Your computer showed me examples of human proportional responses. In one case, humans responded to an attack on their ships by destroying an entire enemy fleet. In another case, humans responded to a terrorist attack by invading 2 different countries. Amy felt uncomfortable. Well, sometimes you need to make sure the problem doesn't happen again. But that is not proportional, Vextal said. That is ... excessive. Do you have a word for excessive response? Amy thought for a moment. We have the word overkill, but we don't really use it the way you're thinking. How do you use it? Well, it usually means using more force than you need, but ... double quotes. Amy paused. Actually, we mostly use it as a joke. Like bringing 10 pizzas. For 4 people is overkill. We don't really apply it to serious situations. Vextal's skin turned completely black. You don't have a word for using too much force in serious situations? Not really, Amy admitted. If something is a real threat, we use whatever force is needed to stop it permanently. Vextal was silent for a long time. His skin slowly changed. Back to purple, then to a pale gray that Amy had learned meant he was scared. Dr. Rodriguez, may I ask about your history? Your computer has been teaching me about human conflicts. What would you like to know? Your last global war. How did it end? Amy felt her stomach drop. She knew where this was going. We developed nuclear weapons and used them on 2 cities. Nuclear weapons, Vextal repeated slowly. These are the weapons that split atoms? Yes. And you used them on cities? Places where families lived? Amy nodded reluctantly. Yes, it was a terrible thing, but it ended the war quickly. It saved lives in the long run. Vextal's skin turned white, which Amy had never seen before. How many people died? About 200,000 directly. But if the war had continued, millions more would have died. So you killed 200,000 people to save millions? Yes. Vextal was quiet again. When he spoke, his voice was very soft. Dr. Rodriguez, in Zelani culture, we have a concept called sufficient force. It means using exactly the amount of power needed to achieve your goal. No more, no less. That sounds reasonable, Amy said. To end a war, we might destroy the enemy's ability to fight. We might capture their leaders. We might blockade their supplies. But we could never, double quotes Vextal stopped speaking. You could never. What? We could never deliberately kill civilians to make a point. The idea of killing thousands to save millions. It does not exist in our thinking. Amy felt defensive. It was a terrible choice, but it was the right choice. More people lived because of what we did. But how do you know? Vextal asked. How? Do you know the war would have continued? How do you know millions would have died? How do you know there was no other way? We calculated the probable outcomes, Amy said weakly. You calculated that mass murder was the best solution? Amy felt angry now. It wasn't murder. It was war. Sometimes in war, you have to make impossible choices. Vextal's skin turned bright red, which Amy realized meant he was terrified. Dr. Rodriguez, may I ask about your other weapons? What other weapons? Your ship carries nuclear missiles. Your planet has thousands of nuclear weapons. Some of them can destroy entire cities with one explosion. Some of them are many times more powerful than the ones you used to end your war. Amy nodded. Yes, we have nuclear weapons. Why do you need weapons that can destroy cities? Deterrence, Amy explained. If everyone knows we can destroy them completely, they won't attack us. But what if deterrence fails? Amy thought about this. Then we use the weapons. Vextal's skin turned white again. All of them? If necessary? Even if it means destroying your own planet? Amy paused. This was getting into uncomfortable territory. We have a strategy called mutually assured destruction. If someone attacks us with nuclear weapons, we attack them back with everything we have. Even if we're going to be destroyed, we make sure they're destroyed too. You would destroy your own world to make sure your enemies die with you? It's a deterrent, Amy repeated. It prevents wars by making them too terrible to fight. Vextal was silent for a very long time. His skin slowly turned gray, then black, and a color Amy had never seen before, almost silver. Dr. Rodriguez, he said finally, I need to ask you something very important. When humans say, whatever force is necessary, what do you mean? Amy thought carefully. We mean we'll do whatever it takes to protect our people and our way of life. Even if it means destroying entire worlds? Amy felt a chill. If that's what it takes, yes. Even if it means killing billions of innocent people? If they threaten us, they're not innocent. Vextal's skin turned completely silver. He stood up slowly. Dr. Rodriguez, I think I understand now why Ambassador Kethfer is so concerned. What do you mean? Humans don't have a word for excessive force because you don't believe in the concept. You only understand two states. Not enough. Force and enough force. You have no concept of too much force. Amy felt confused. Well, yes. If something is a threat, you eliminate the threat. What's wrong with that? Vextal looked at her with his large, dark eyes. Dr. Rodriguez, what you call eliminating the threat, the rest of the galaxy calls genocide. Amy stared at him. We're not. You just told me that humans would destroy entire worlds if they felt threatened. You told me you would kill billions of people if you thought it was necessary. You told me you built weapons specifically, designed to destroy your own planet rather than accept defeat. Amy tried to speak, but no words came. Dr. Rodriguez, humans may be peaceful most of the time, but when you decide something is a threat, you don't seek proportional response. You seek total elimination. And you see nothing wrong with this. Vextal moved toward the door. I must report this to Ambassador Kethfer immediately. As the alien left, Amy sat alone in the beautiful, peaceful room. For the first time in her life, she wondered how human behavior looked to species that had never developed the concept of total. It was not a comfortable thought. Admiral Ben Carter stood in the center of the massive, holographic display aboard the Galactic Council's war simulation chamber. Representatives from 12 different alien species watched from elevated platforms around the room. Each species looked different, but they all had the same expression: nervous curiosity. The invitation had come 3 weeks after the first contact incident. The Galactic Council wanted to understand human military thinking. They had set up what they called a tactical exercise to see how humans approached warfare. Admiral Carter, announced Council Speaker Zethmar, a tall insectoid being with crystal-like skin, you will be presented with a standard defensive scenario. Please respond as you normally would. The holographic display activated, showing a star system with several planets. A blue dot appeared near the third planet. This is the colony of New Haven, Zethmar explained. Population, 50,000 civilians. They are being threatened by raiders. Intelligence suggests the raiders have 12 ships, lightly armed. Your task is to defend the colony using appropriate force. Admiral Carter studied the display. He walked around the hologram, examining the planet, the surrounding space, and the approach routes. The alien representatives whispered among themselves as they watched him work. Questions, Admiral? Zethmar asked. Several, Carter replied. What's the terrain like on the planet? Are there any valuable resources the raiders might want? What's the population distribution? Any military installations? What about the raiders? Do we know their species, their technology level, their usual tactics? The aliens looked confused. Admiral, this is a simple defensive scenario. The raiders want to attack the colony. You stop them. Carter nodded. Right, but I need to understand the full situation to plan properly. He turned to his aide, Lieutenant Commander Kate Sullivan, who had been setting up a portable command system. Kate, bring up Tactical Analysis Protocol 7. The human equipment activated, projecting additional information around the alien hologram. New displays showed orbital mechanics, atmospheric data, resource distributions, and population centers. Admiral? Zethmar said carefully, the scenario is quite simple. You have one ship. The raiders have 12 ships. You defend the colony. One ship? Carter asked. What class? A standard patrol cruiser. Carter looked at Sullivan. Kate, what's our standard patrol cruiser loadout? Sullivan consulted her display. 60 nuclear missiles, 20 plasma cannons, full electronic warfare suite, orbital bombardment capability, and a Marine battalion for ground operations. Several aliens made sounds of distress. A small, furry creature that Carter thought was called a pike tar actually fell off its platform. Admiral, Zethmar said weakly, that seems like a lot of weapons for a patrol ship. Standard loadout. Carter replied. Now, let me understand the tactical situation. Carter walked around the display again. The raiders are approaching from the outer system. That gives us time to prepare. Kate, execute Defense Plan Alpha. The human displays came, alive with activity. Sullivan's fingers moved across her controls, and new elements appeared in the hologram. First, we evacuate all civilians from the primary target zones and move them to hardened shelters. Carter explained as red zones appeared on the planet's surface. Then we deploy orbital defense platforms here, here, and here. 3 new objects appeared in space around the planet. Next, we mine the approach routes. Hundreds of tiny dots appeared in space. We deploy electronic warfare satellites to disrupt enemy communications. More objects appeared. We position our ship here, in the planet's shadow, for maximum tactical advantage. The alien representatives were making increasingly distressed noises. Admiral, interrupted a serpentine being called Sashrek, you are defending against 12 lightly armed raiders, not an invasion fleet. Right, Carter agreed. Light engagement protocol. Kate, show them phase 2. The display changed. Tactical lines appeared showing firing solutions and attack vectors. When the raiders enter the system, we hit them with long-range missile strikes. Here, Carter explained, pointing to a spot far from the planet. Full spread, 60 missiles total. That should eliminate most of their ships immediately. All of them? Asked a jellyfish-like creature floating in a water tank. Probably, Carter said. But if any survive, we have the minefield here, the orbital platforms here, and our ship's main weapons here. Triple redundancy. But Admiral, Zethmar protested, 12 ships versus 60 missiles seems ... excessive. Carter looked confused. Excessive? We want to make sure we get them all. If even one raider ship escapes, they might come back with Friends, better to end the threat completely. Sullivan stepped forward. Sir, should I show them Phase 3? Phase 3? Zethmar asked weakly. Pursuit and elimination, Carter explained. After we destroy the raider ships, we track their course back to their base of operations. Then we eliminate their entire fleet, their facilities, and any other raiders in the area. The room fell completely silent. You would hunt down and destroy raiders who never attacked you, asked the Pygtar, who had climbed back onto its platform. They attacked the colony, Carter said. That makes them enemies. You don't leave enemies alive to attack you again later. But that could mean killing thousands of beings, Sashrak said. If there are thousands of raiders, then it's good we found them before they attacked more colonies, Carter replied. Zethmar's crystal skin had turned a dark, troubled color. Admiral Carter, in our military doctrine, we use minimum necessary force. We would send a single ship to drive off the raiders, perhaps capture a few for questioning. What if they come back? Carter asked. Then we drive them off again. Carter stared at the alien. You'd rather fight the same enemy over and over instead of ending the threat permanently? We don't believe in permanent solutions, Zethmar said carefully. Why not? The question hung in the air. The alien representatives looked at each other, clearly uncomfortable. Finally, the jellyfish creature spoke. Admiral, your light engagement protocol involves more firepower than most species use for major wars. Your standard patrol ship carries enough weapons to conquer a small planet. Your defensive plan could destroy an entire raider civilization. Carter nodded. Yes, that's the point. Overwhelming force prevents future conflicts. But what about proportional response? Asked Sashrak. What about it? Don't you believe in using only the force necessary to achieve your goals? Carter thought about this. Our goal is to make sure the colony is never threatened again. The force necessary to achieve that goal is the complete elimination of the threat. All of it? Zethmar asked. All of it, Carter confirmed. Sullivan spoke up. If I may, Admiral, I think they're asking why we don't just scare the raiders away. Carter looked at her like she was crazy. Scare them away? So they can attack someone else? So they can come back better prepared next time? That's not solving the problem. That's just making it someone else's problem. The room was quiet again. Carter could see the aliens were deeply disturbed by something, but he couldn't understand what. Admiral, Zethmar said finally, what if the raiders surrendered? What if they offered to leave peacefully after they attacked the colony? Carter asked. Yes. We'd accept their surrender, process them through military justice, and then hunt down the rest of their organization anyway. Even if they promised never to raid again? Especially then, Carter said. If they're willing to lie to save their lives, they're definitely willing to lie about their future intentions. The alien representatives began talking among themselves, in their various languages. Carter could tell they were agitated, but he didn't understand why. Admiral, Zethmar said finally, I think we have learned what we needed to know. Did I pass your test? Carter asked. Zethmar's crystal skin turned almost black. Admiral, there was no test. We simply wanted to understand how humans think about warfare. And we understand now, Zethmar said quietly. We understand completely. As Carter and Sullivan packed up their equipment, Carter heard one of the aliens whisper to another, Now we know why they don't have a word for overkill. They don't understand the concept. Carter turned to ask what they meant, but the aliens were already filing out of the room, looking back at the humans with expressions that Carter was beginning to recognize. Fear, deep, terrified fear. Dr. Paul Jenkins stood before the assembled Galactic Council in their great chamber on the neutral world of Consensus Prime. The room was enormous, with seats for representatives from 47 different species arranged in concentric circles. Most of those seats were filled today. That word had spread quickly through the galaxy about the human military demonstration. Now everyone wanted to understand what kind of species humanity really was. "Honored council members," Dr. Jenkins began, "you have asked me to explain human military history and philosophy. I want to start by saying that humans are not naturally violent. We prefer peace. But our history has taught us some hard lessons about what happens when peaceful people are not prepared to fight." He activated his holographic display, showing images of early human civilizations. Humans began as tribal hunters, Jenkins explained. Small groups competing for limited resources. We learned early that survival often meant fighting. Not just fighting to win, but fighting to ensure your tribe could never be threatened by that enemy again. The display showed primitive weapons, spears, clubs, arrows. At first, our weapons were simple. But humans have always been tool makers. We improved our weapons constantly, making them more effective, more deadly, more final. A small, bird-like alien called Sherptol raised a wing. "Dr. Jenkins, all species develop weapons. What makes humans different?" Jenkins paused. "We never stopped improving them. Most species reach a point where their weapons are good enough. Humans always ask, how can we make this better?" The display changed, showing the evolution of human warfare through the centuries. We invented bronze weapons, then iron, then steel. We created bows, then crossbows, then guns. We built catapults, then cannons, then missiles. We discovered gunpowder, then explosives, then nuclear weapons. Several aliens made uncomfortable sounds at the mention of nuclear weapons. Each improvement had the same goal, Jenkins continued. End conflicts quickly and completely. Make the enemy unable to fight back. Ensure they could never threaten us again. An alien that looked like a walking tree, representative of the Grove Collective, spoke up. "Dr. Jenkins, this seems like a reasonable progression. Why does it concern the Council?" Jenkins brought up a new image, a graph showing human conflict escalation over time. "Because we never learned when to stop," he said simply. "Let me give you some examples from human history." The display showed ancient battles. Early humans fought with swords and shields. A typical battle might kill hundreds. But we weren't satisfied with that. We wanted to win faster, more completely. New images appeared, so we invented siege weapons. Now we could destroy entire cities. We could starve whole populations into surrender. Battles that used to kill hundreds now killed thousands. The aliens were quiet, watching the progression. Then we invented gunpowder weapons. Cannons could destroy castle walls. Guns could kill from a distance. Wars that used to kill thousands now killed tens of thousands. More images flashed by, showing larger and larger conflicts. We kept improving. Better guns, bigger cannons, more effective tactics. We invented artillery that could kill hundreds with a single shot. We created strategies that could destroy entire armies in a single battle. Commander Maria Santos, who had been quiet until now, stood up. "Dr. Jenkins, may I add something?" "Of course, Commander." Maria addressed the Council directly. "Honored representatives, what Dr. Jenkins is describing is not unique among humans. Every species probably has a similar progression. The difference is what we did next." She activated her own display, showing more recent human history. Most species, when they reach a certain level of destructive capability, decide they have enough. They create rules about warfare. They agree on limitations. They develop concepts like honor in battle or acceptable losses. The display showed images of massive industrial warfare. Humans did the opposite. We decided that if we were going to fight, we should fight to win completely. We developed the concept of total war using every resource, targeting every aspect of enemy society, accepting no outcome except complete victory. Several aliens shifted uncomfortably in their seats. We built factories that produced nothing but weapons. We trained entire populations for war. We developed strategies that targeted not just enemy soldiers, but enemy civilians, enemy infrastructure, enemy food supplies, enemy morale. The images showed bombed cities, devastated landscapes, millions of refugees. And then, Maria continued, we invented nuclear weapons. The chamber fell silent. Dr. Jenkins took over again. Nuclear weapons represented the ultimate expression of human military philosophy. Why fight a long war when you can end it with a single bomb? Why leave enemy cities standing when you can destroy them in minutes? Why accept partial victory when you can achieve total surrender? The display showed mushroom clouds, destroyed. Cities, radiation zones. We didn't just build a few nuclear weapons for emergencies. We built thousands, tens of thousands. We built weapons that could destroy entire countries. We built weapons that could destroy entire continents. We built so many weapons that we could destroy our own planet several times over. A gasping sound came from several species. Why? Asked Zithmar, the Insectoid Council speaker. Why would any species build the capability to destroy their own world? Jenkins and Santos looked at each other. To make sure our enemies died with us, Santos said simply. The silence that followed was deafening. Jenkins continued. We called it mutually assured destruction. The idea was simple. If you attack us with nuclear weapons, we will attack you. With everything we have. Even if you destroy us, we will destroy you too. No one wins, everyone dies. That's insane, whispered the Grove Collective representative. That's human, Jenkins replied. We would rather see the galaxy burn than accept defeat. An aquatic alien in a mobility suit spoke up. But surely this was just theoretical. You never actually used these weapons in anger. Jenkins paused. Actually, we did. We ended our last global war by destroying 2 cities with nuclear weapons. Each bomb killed over 100,000 people instantly. The chamber erupted in shocked voices from dozens of species. We killed civilians? Asked Chirptal. To end the war faster, Santos explained. We calculated that a long conventional war would kill more people than a short nuclear war. So we chose the nuclear option. You calculated the acceptable number. Of deaths? Asked Zethmar. We calculated the minimum number of deaths required to achieve total victory. Santos corrected. Dr. Jenkins brought up his final display. Modern human military doctrine. Today, humans maintain the same philosophy. We have weapons that can destroy planets. We have strategies that can eliminate entire species. We have contingency plans for threats that don't even exist yet. What kind of threats? Asked the Grove. Collective, alien invasion, galactic war, hostile artificial intelligence, planet-killing asteroids, dimensional incursions, cosmic disasters. Jenkins shrugged. If we can imagine a threat, we have a plan to fight it. And all of these plans involve. Zethmar began. Total elimination of the threat, Santos finished. Yes, we don't believe in half measures. If something threatens humanity, we destroy it completely. We don't negotiate with it. We don't contain it. We don't try to coexist with it. We eliminate it. The chamber was quiet for a long time. Finally, a small mammalian alien spoke up. Dr. Jenkins, Commander Santos, do humans understand that other species find this terrifying? Jenkins looked surprised. Terrifying? Why? We're not threatening anyone. We only use force against actual threats. But who decides what constitutes a threat? Asked Zethmar. Santos and Jenkins looked at each other again. We do, Santos said. The silence that followed was the longest yet. Dr. Jenkins tried to explain. Honored council members, humans learned long ago that the universe is a dangerous place. The only way to protect what you love is to be more dangerous than anything that might threaten it. We don't enjoy violence, but we're very, very good at it when necessary. And you decide when it's necessary, Sethmar said quietly. Of course, Santos replied. Who else would decide? As the session ended and the alien representatives filed out, Dr. Jenkins could hear fragments of their conversations. They would destroy worlds to protect their interests. No concept of proportional response. They see every conflict as existential. Complete elimination of threats. They would rather die than surrender. Jenkins turned to Santos. I think that went well. They seem to understand our position now. Santos nodded. Good. Maybe now they'll realize we're reasonable people who just happen to be very well prepared. Neither of them noticed the expressions of absolute terror on the alien faces as they left the chamber, or the emergency sessions that were being called throughout the galaxy. Or the fact that every single species representative was asking the same question. How do we make sure we never become what humans consider a threat? The emergency council session was called at 0347 Galactic Standard Time. Ambassador Kethfer rushed into the council chambers, his normally calm blue-gray skin flickering with patches of deep red panic. The message had been brief but terrifying. Unknown hostiles attacking Zelani colonies. Conventional defenses failing. Request immediate assistance. Council Speaker Zithmar stood at the center of the chamber, his crystal skin dark with worry. Ambassador Kethver, please report the situation. 3 of our outer colonies are under attack, Kethver said, his voice shaking. The attackers call themselves the Devourers. They are unlike anything we have encountered before. The main display activated, showing grainy footage from the attacked colonies. Massive black ships, twisted and organic-looking, swarmed around. Beautiful Zelani cities. Where the ships passed, nothing remained but empty space. They don't just conquer, Kethver continued. They consume everything. The planets, the atmosphere, even the star's energy. They leave nothing behind. Representatives from dozens of species murmured in alarm. This was beyond anything in their experience. What forces have you deployed? Asked General Vexner of the Korthic Military Alliance. Everything we have, Kethver replied. 12 fleets, our most advanced weapons, our best commanders. We followed all proper military protocols. We used appropriate force levels for the size of the threat. And we lost everything. Our weapons barely scratched their ships. Our tactics meant nothing to them. They destroyed our fleets and continued, consuming our worlds as if we had never been there. The chamber fell silent. The Zelani were considered one of the most advanced military powers in the galaxy. If they couldn't stop these Devourers, what could? Have you requested assistance from other member species? Zethmar asked. Yes, Kethver said. The Piktar sent a support fleet. The Grove Collective provided advanced weapons. The Aquatic Alliance contributed their best ships. All together, we assembled over 300 vessels. The result? Complete defeat. The Devourers consumed our reinforcement fleets as easily as they consumed our colonies. We estimate we have perhaps 6 hours before they reach our core worlds. The representatives looked at each other with growing panic. If the combined military might of 4 major species couldn't stop these creatures, what hope did anyone have? Council Speaker, called out Chirptel, we must mobilize the full galactic fleet. Every ship, every weapon, every species working together. That would take weeks to organize, Zethmar replied. Ambassador Kethfor says we have hours. Then what do we do? Asked the Grove Collective representative. The chamber fell silent again. For the first time in galactic history, the council had no answer. Then a new voice spoke from the back of the chamber. "You could ask the humans for help." Everyone turned. In the doorway stood a tall figure in a blue uniform. Captain Alex Turner of the UES Retribution stepped into the chamber. "Captain Turner," Sethmar said carefully, "this is a closed emergency session." "I know," Alex replied. "I monitored your communications. When I heard about the Devourers, I came as fast as I could. You came to observe our destruction?" Kethver asked bitterly. "I came to help," Alex said simply. The chamber erupted in confused voices. "Help?" called out General Vexner. "Captain, with respect, this threat has defeated the combined forces of our most powerful military species. What can one human ship do that 300 of our vessels could not?" Alex walked to the center of the chamber. "May I see the tactical data?" Kethver hesitated, then activated the display. Detailed information about the Devourer ships appeared. Their size, their weapons, their consumption patterns, their apparent immunity to conventional attacks. Alex studied the data for exactly 37 seconds. "I can stop them," he said. Chamber exploded in disbelief. "Captain," Sethmar said when the noise died down, "I appreciate your confidence, but these creatures have proven immune to our most powerful weapons." "That's because you're using proportional force," Alex replied. "You're trying to drive them away or disable them. You're fighting a conventional war against an unconventional enemy." "What would you do differently?" asked Kethver. Alex's expression was completely calm. "I would eliminate them." "We tried to eliminate them," General Vexner protested. "Our weapons had no effect." "You tried to eliminate their ships," Alex corrected. "I would eliminate everything." The aliens looked confused. "Captain," Sethmar said slowly, "could you be more specific?" Alex activated his own display system. New information appeared alongside the alien data. Human weapons specifications, tactical analysis, and something the aliens had never seen before. A complete extinction protocol. "The Devourers consume matter and energy," Alex explained. "They're essentially living black holes. Conventional weapons feed them. Energy weapons make them stronger. The more you shoot at them, the more powerful they become." "Then how do you stop them?" Chirpdal asked. "You don't shoot at them," Alex said. "You remove their ability to exist." He manipulated the display, showing the local star system where the Devourers were attacking. Step 1. Evacuate any surviving population from the target area. Step 2. Deploy quantum destabilization lines throughout the system. Step 3. Initiate stellar collapse. The chamber went dead silent. "Stellar collapse?" Kethver whispered. "We turn their own consumption ability against them," Alex explained calmly. "When the star goes supernova, it creates a gravitational disruption that tears apart anything that feeds on matter and energy. The Devourers will be consumed by their own nature." "But that will destroy the entire star system," protested the Grove Collective representative. "Yes," Alex agreed, "including any planets that might still have survivors." "Yes, and any rescue ships in the area." "Yes." The aliens stared at him in horror. "Captain," Sethmar said carefully, "you are talking about deliberately destroying an entire star system to stop an enemy force." "I'm talking about stopping an enemy that consumes entire star systems," Alex corrected. "This is the only way to ensure they can't continue to spread. But the cost," Kethver began. "The cost of not stopping them is higher," Alex said. "They've already consumed 3 of your colonies. If we don't stop them here, they'll consume 3 more, then 10 more, then 100 more. How many systems are you willing to lose to avoid destroying one?" The chamber was quiet for a long moment. "Captain," Chirpdal said finally, "surely there must be another way." Some method that doesn't require destroying an entire star system. Alex looked at the small bird-like alien. There might be. We could try to negotiate with them. We could try to find a technological solution. We could try to develop new weapons. We could try to understand their biology and find a weakness. Yes, several aliens said hopefully. All of those approaches would take time, Alex continued. Months, maybe years. How many star systems will the Devourers consume while we're looking? For a perfect solution? The hope died out of their voices. So you see only one option, Zethmar said. I see only one option that guarantees the threat is eliminated, Alex corrected. You can try other methods if you want. But while you're trying them, I'll be implementing the solution that actually works. Dr. Jennifer Walsh, who had been quiet until now, stepped forward from behind Alex. If I may add something, Council Speaker. Dr. Walsh, yes, please. You keep talking about the cost of destroying one star system, but you're not considering the cost of not destroying it. The Devourers don't just kill people. They erase them completely. Every person, every culture, every achievement, every memory, gone forever. She activated her own display, showing projections of Devourer expansion. Based on their current consumption rate, they will consume 17 star systems in the next year. That's approximately 40 billion lives. In 10 years, they could consume half the galaxy. The numbers appeared on the display, stark and undeniable. So the question isn't whether destroying one star system is acceptable, Dr. Walsh continued. The question is whether destroying one star system to save 40 billion lives is acceptable. And if there are survivors in that system? Asked Kethver. There won't be, Alex said quietly. I've studied the tactical data. The Devourers consume everything organic first. Anyone still in that system is already dead. We'd be destroying an empty system to prevent the Devourers from moving on to populate it. Ones? The chamber was silent for several minutes. Finally, Zethmar spoke. Captain Turner, if we authorize this action, how quickly could you implement it? I'm already in position, Alex replied. My ship is equipped with quantum destabilization. Weapons. I can begin the stellar collapse sequence within 1 hour of your authorization. 1 hour? General Vexner looked shocked. You were prepared for this before you even arrived? We're always prepared, Alex said. It's what we do. More silence. Council Speaker, Kethver said slowly, I request a formal vote on Captain Turner's proposal. All in favor of authorizing human intervention against the Devourer threat, Zethmar announced. One by one, every representative raised their hand, tentacle, wing, or appendage. Unanimous approval, Zethmar said. Captain Turner, you are authorized to proceed. Alex nodded. Thank you, Council Speaker. I'll transmit the results when the operation is complete. As Alex and Dr. Walsh left the chamber, the alien sat in. Stunned silence. What have we just done? Whispered Chirptel. We've asked the most there,